So it's going to be about a week before I get the new one back. So I'm going to be blogging with this one, vlogging. So today, I finally am going to go get this fixed. We'll see how it works out. Maybe it might cost too much and I might just need to buy a new one. Don't want to do that, but we'll see what they say. So I came to the Canon Center to drop off the camera and having to wait a little bit. So tooling around this really cool facility. Check it out. Want. Need to print something? I think this can handle it. I love this rotunda with lenses. So I just walked out of here a very happy man. I don't have my camera yet, but they're gonna send me a new one. No charge. So it's gonna be about a week before I get the new camera back, so I'm gonna be vlogging with this one for a little bit longer. Yeah, I gotta make do, but I cannot wait to get the new one back. Now I just gotta figure out something to do with the rest of my day. The other day I met some new people that I'd never met before in my life. That's usually how it works with new people. And we got to talking and they asked me what I did, and I told them that I am an artist and a writer. And the funny thing happens whenever I say that to people is because whenever I say I'm an artist, it's like they don't know how to react. So if I say I'm an artist and a writer, they will always say, oh, well, what do you write? They don't ever hardly ask me about the art. And I think that's kind of interesting. But that's a topic for another time. What I really want to talk to you is about all these books on the table that you can't see that I'm pointing at. When I got laid off from my job in 2013, one of the things I decided to do was write a book. And the first book that I wrote was this one, Selling Art Online. Now I wrote this because I had written some blog posts that all revolved around the idea of places where people could sell their art. And it was a very helpful series and a lot of people liked it, so I decided to turn it into a book. Now it's not a very big book, it's a small book, but it's still my #1 selling book. However, it's a little outdated. Like some of the information in here just doesn't apply anymore. And I've thought about redoing this book, or at least updating it, but I thought I've updated it twice. This is already version 2, second edition. And I don't know if I really need a third edition, because I think there's plenty of resources for people out there now, and I don't know if I'm really doing anybody any good by getting a third version. The next book I wrote shortly after that was this one, called Life After Christmas. This one was based on a personal ideal that I think that a lot of artists and creatives and makers and whatnot don't truly understand the art of branding. Also, specifically, one of the things that I saw a lot of people talking about was how sales would tend to fall off a cliff as soon as the holiday seasons were over. Everybody would work their ass off for the holidays, and then their sales would just fall. And so I wrote this book based on the idea that if you create a brand that is bulletproof, then it will help you sustain sales throughout all of your seasons. There may be dips and stuff like that, but it will help you maintain, and you won't have these dramatic shifts in your business. After that, I wrote this bad boy, the Creative Badass Challenge. It's basically 30 days to improving the way you interact with your work, with the way you interact with the people around you, the way you interact with your business. And it's, it's a kind of it's a workbook, and it has all kinds of challenges in it, which is kind of fun and cool. And I really like this one. I really enjoyed making this one, and it does okay, but it's not like one of my top bestsellers. But it's fun. It's a fun book to do, and I enjoyed writing it, and some people who have done it have enjoyed it too. The last book, or the most recent book I wrote, was this one, The Gold is in the List. And this is all about email marketing and how to approach it, specifically from somebody who doesn't have any kind of understanding of email marketing and how to get that first 1,000 subscribers. I wrote all those with one core intention: to help others. To help others improve the work that they do. And all of this stuff is based on, number one, my personal experience, number two, the work that I've done in the past, because I come from a marketing and branding background, And 3, it just is a core belief that I want to help artists and creatives do more with the work and the life that they have. Now, I churned out all 4 of those books within about 2 years period, maybe a little more than 2 years period. And when I was doing them all, I kept getting a lot of comments from people saying the same thing. Dave, you're such a machine. God, you just churn out books and churn out stuff and you're so fast. And I was like, well, I'm not the fastest writer in the world, but yeah, get going and get moving and get it done. And then I hit a wall because I started to write a 5th book about selling art. And as I started to write it, I realized that if I was really going to truly understand and be able to talk to people about selling art, then I really needed to do it myself. Now, there are people out there right now, at this very moment, trying to sell you books that talk about selling art that have never sold a single piece of art in their entire life. Some have never even done a piece of art in their entire lives, yet they're trying to sell you books. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but yeah, it's absolutely positively true. I absolutely never want to be that guy. Never, ever, ever. And so I decided I need to learn more about selling art myself before I ever talked about it to other people. But here's the thing. As I started to go down this path of being the artist and selling the art and doing the art business, I really kind of lost a passion for telling people what to do. It's not that I don't want to lend a hand. I do want to help people. I absolutely want to help people. And if anybody asks me my opinion, I'm absolutely going to tell them. I'll help anybody anytime because that's just the nature of who I am. But I felt like I've done enough writing books on how to do something. And I haven't felt the passion to do that in a while. Now, that being said, even though I don't want to write the how-to stuff, I do feel this pull to write. But I just wasn't sure what to write next. I feel like there's this need, like I have this need to make sure that whatever I write, I have to get it done quick. That's why I wrote all of these books really fast, because I needed to get them out quickly. Otherwise, I lose the motivation to write them. I've got 4 books here that I've finished. You have no clue how many books I've actually started and abandoned. Part of the reason that the abandonment happens is because I lose focus on them and I get bored with them, but it's also just because I didn't feel confident about what I was saying. So I'm kind of sitting in this weird spot right now about what to write next, and also dwelling on this idea like, how can I bang it out? And it's kept me from writing the next thing. I don't want to bang the next thing out because I don't have this motivation to write this magnum opus. In fact, the only thing I have motivation to write these days are short stories about my personal experience, about my creative epiphanies, about things in my life that have led me down this path. Perhaps you call this a memoir or a list of stories put together to help identify myself as a creative and help others identify with that idea of being a creative. That's kind of where I'm at. I just haven't done it yet. Well, I haven't really done it yet. And that's kind of why I'm sharing this with you now, because I'm trying to motivate myself and give myself a call to action and kind of give myself this accountability to all of you that I'm going to put something out in the future that is in the scope of what I'm talking about right now. I feel like there's way too much how-to information out there in the world. You can learn anything you want right here on YouTube, and you can buy books, galore to get you all the answers that you're looking for. What it really comes down to is taking action, and we talked about this before, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that kind of book anymore. I don't want to do that kind of thing anymore. What I want to do is inspire. What I want to do is help people relate to something so that it helps them get to a spot that they're creating and making and doing the thing that they want to do. I don't want to call it motivation either, because that's not really what this is about. This is about relatable information that makes people go, "God, at least I'm not the only person that feels this way." The problem is that I don't have them all ready to go. They're not ready to just pour out of me and just bang down the keyboard for a month. I need to take my sweet time getting these stories out. And so I'm not going to put a timeline on this one, but I am committing myself to writing more stories so that I can create this compendium and put that out. And hopefully that becomes my magnum opus I don't want to be too willy-nilly about my loose deadline. I do want to give myself some sort of deadline to get this finished, but I'm not going to give myself the hard deadlines that I used to. When I wrote this one, Life After Christmas, I gave myself 30 days to get this whole thing written and put out. I think I missed the mark a little bit, but pretty close. I don't want to put myself on that deadline because I feel like when I do that, it marginalizes what I'm writing and it's not letting me put out my 100% best effort. I'm just saying, hey, look, it's time for me to start owning up to that writer label that I keep giving myself. Put some words down on paper or, on the keyboard. So let's get to it.